Hi, guys. You know, when I left corporate America behind, no one told me that being an entrepreneur was going to be like stepping into a snow globe every single day. I realized that when I left corporate America, I left behind the departments and the support, and now the product was me, which brought my vulnerability to a whole new level. But I figured I'd have more clarity because I was doing what I wanted to do, not what someone else wanted me to do. I was wrong. Literally every single time I'd open up my door and step into my office, it felt like living in a snow globe, working in a snow globe, and I couldn't figure out why. I mean, I learned how to stack my schedule and batch my calendar and block my schedule. But the one thing I couldn't figure out how to do was control my schedule. That's what I really wanted to learn how to do. And then I realized that controlling your schedule happens way before you actually sit down to look at a physical piece of paper or the calendar on your computer. It has to do with establishing boundaries and then standing firm in them and telling other people what your boundaries are. I'm Heather Morrison with Bold Beyond Belief, and no one told me that I have to establish boundaries or even how to do that or what that would look like to share it with other people. So I'm going to help you out there. I have a guide and it's called How to Be Twice as Productive in Half the Time. And I wanted to share one juicy little morsel with you today. So the first thing in establishing boundaries is to figure out what you want. Okay? And that has to do with looking at your core values and your core beliefs. You see, for the longest time, I thought that my core values and my core beliefs had to be completely separate. They had to be completely separate from my professional life. I couldn't bring any humor or authenticity or self-expression or personal power into a corporate environment. So I kept them very separate. When you're an entrepreneur, this is one of the luxuries. You get to let all of that shine. You should be letting that shine in a corporate environment too, but that's another story. So in an effort to let all of those things shine through, I had to sit down and figure out what my core beliefs and what my core values were. And once I figured those out, everything else was easy in terms of what I would allow on my calendar, what I would allow on my schedule. So the first thing I did was I cleared my schedule. Stick with me here. I took everything off my calendar. And I only added things back onto my calendar that rolled up into my core values and my core beliefs. Meaning, those networking meetings that I was going to for 3, 4, 5+ years that never brought me any business, which I will say, that's not why I went to them. That was not why I went to those networking meetings. I went because I wanted to have the friendship and I wanted to exchange ideas with like-minded business people. But when that well went dry and I wasn't getting anything in terms of even knowledge from that group, it was time to move on. And that's okay. It's time to move on sometimes. Sometimes things are for a reason. Sometimes they're for a season. They don't have to be for a lifetime. Okay? And so when I figured out those things in my life that were no longer serving me or serving my core values or beliefs, I let them go. I went back to people and I said, thank you so much for considering me for this. Thank you so much for having me for so long. I really, truly appreciate having been part of your group. My focus has changed. So I won't be back at this group next Tuesday, next Thursday, whatever it was. But I'd love the opportunity to join again. See how easy that is? Okay, I make it sound really easy. It took time and it took patience and it took practice. But I promise you, those people that are in your life to support and love and guide you will be happy that you've got that clarity and that you've made that decision. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is sit down and clear your calendar and then really look at those things that are worthy of your time before you add them back into your calendar. And realize this, time spent in one area is time taken away from another area. Meaning, that time that I was spending at those networking meetings that were no longer rolling up into my core values or my core beliefs were taking me away from my core values and my core beliefs, right? You are a person with a fixed amount of energy. You can only spend so much energy. And if you're spending it on the wrong things, it doesn't give you the opportunity to spend it on the right things. When I left corporate America, at first I didn't have boundaries. And so my 9 to 5 at corporate America all of a sudden became 9 to midnight sometimes. And I did that myself. I take full responsibility. I totally did that myself because during the day I was allowing a lot of interruptions. So once you've got your calendar figured out, then you need to share your calendar and share it with your family and share it with your friends and share it with your clients. If you are continually taking client calls at 9 o'clock at night, do you know why? Because you haven't shared with your clients that you're not going to be taking client calls at 9 o'clock at night. Tell them I take client calls between 9 and 4, Monday through Friday. If you need to reach me after those hours, you can leave me a message. I'll return your call as soon as I'm able. Boom. This also has to do with telling your friends and your family. So when your friends and your family continually interrupt your business day and you haven't told them what your boundaries are, you can't get mad at them because you haven't told them what your boundaries are. Okay? I tell my son that unless there's a blood, flood, or fire, he is not to interrupt me. I come out during the day, we have our cuddle time, we do our thing, we go gather up the dogs, we have some lunch. So it's not like I don't see him all day, but he understands that when my door is shut, right? I'm busy doing something in there and I can't be bothered. So now that those boundaries are established, now that I've shared those boundaries with my friends and my family and my clients, my life has become so much crystal clear. It's so much easier because there's not that resentment there. Can't they see I'm busy? Can't they? No, they don't know what you're working on. Open up your mouth and tell them, right? So that's just juicy nugget number 1. Establish your boundaries, stand firm in them, and then create your calendar around that. If you'd like the other 4 juicy bullets, comment down below half the time. So the name of the guide is How to Be Twice as Productive in Half the Time. So let me know down below half the time, and I will be happy to shoot over that juicy guide to you to make working from home work for you. Ciao.